Hi, my name is Lee Reich. We're here on my farmden. It's fall, and I'd like to start out today with a riddle. The riddle is, what will weed your garden, feed your garden, water your garden, and take out your garbage? And the answer is not a perfect teenager. The answer is compost, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So what I like to do is consider my compost to be a pet. It's a pet and it needs things just like my dog needs things. Lila, come here. Like my dog, my compost needs food, water, and air. This hay that I cut a few days ago, this will be one of the foods that will go into the compost. So this is another thing that's going to go in the compost. Some people would consider this to be garbage after it's cut. This is the old asparagus plants, and rather than put them in the garbage, they go into the compost. I especially like to put weeds in the compost because it's like sweet revenge. Not only does it get rid of the weeds, but then they get recycled back into the garden to feed the garden. This is horse manure. I really want to emphasize that it's not absolutely important to add manure. Oh, let me get one more thing. Yet more food from my compost pet. This is from the kitchen. This is where the magic happens. So if I was going to give one bit of advice for starting a compost pile, I would say have a bin, have an enclosure, because this is what makes a compost pile different from a garbage pile. So I'm going to start building this pile now. What I'm going to start with first is about a 6-inch layer of old hay. There's two main foods in it that go into a compost, food categories. One is high carbon foods and the other is high nitrogen foods. And high carbon foods would be old, dead plant material. So this is the high carbon layer. And what I like to do is make sure it's spread out evenly. And then as I build it, if I'm building a pile at once, I like to water it. As I said, my compost pet needs food, water, and air. So here's the water. I'm making sure it gets just the right amount of water. Okay, and then high nitrogen materials would be manure. So I add a couple of inches of manure to the pile. So I add water to the manure also because it's somewhat dry. So next what I'm going to do is put a layer of the asparagus with a few weeds mixed into it. Sometimes when I add materials to the compost, if they're very stemmy, I like to shred the compost. This also speeds up composting. So what I use when I shred is a solar-powered compost shredder. If you have any aggressions, this will do it. On top of this layer, I think I'll put various weeds I've collected from the garden. One thing is I really hate to throw away things because when you throw away things, it just gets landfilled. So sometimes if they're natural materials, can be composted also. So sometimes I'll compost my old pants. Now I know these look like sheer polyester pants, but these are Levi's that have been through what I like to call a few cycles of composting. For this compost cycle, I actually have some more old clothes. I have some underwear that the elastic doesn't work, so I'm going to be throwing these in. This is a high carbon material that I'm adding to the compost pile. And then periodically, what I like to add to the compost also is some soil. So here's, this is a compost pile that I built last year. I turned this spring, and now amazing. Here's what it looks now. It's just this really nice material. It's crumbly. It's nutritious for the plants. This is 90% of becoming a great gardener. So that's how you make compost. You think about the carbon materials, you think about the nitrogen materials, you add water, you make sure aeration's right. But if you pile any organic material together, eventually it will turn to compost because no matter what you do, compost happens.